Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hello and welcome to Share Talk. Today I'm joined by Clem Chambers, who is CEO at Online Blockchain and also CEO at Advfn. I'm not quite sure which hat you're wearing today, or were you wearing both?
Yes, why not? In fact, I'm not wearing any hats.
I've got you lost for words, which is quite an achievement as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, as you can imagine, with Online Blockchain at the moment, which has decided that the market's decided it's now actually an exciting project because of the value of Bitcoin. It is a very exciting project, has been for quite some time. But you know what the market's like. When you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. And Advfn had its interims out this morning, which were, I was very pleased about them. And we are thriving in the pandemic because people are very engaged with their investments right now. And I keep writing in my year summary, when times are bad, things are good for us, and when things are good, things are not so great for us. And this year, well, obviously, it couldn't be worse, really. So we're actually in a funny little eye of the storm, because people are locked up and they're worried about their finances and they're checking their stocks, and that's led to lots of interest and led to market rallies and Bitcoin rallies and all that stuff. So uncertainty is strong for Advfn, whereas certainty makes investors complacent. And when they're complacent, obviously that they think they're geniuses and they don't need to check up on things and don't need any new investments, and they're all right, Jack. But when things hit the fan, they suddenly grab their keyboard and they type www.advfn.com, and we prosper. So that's we are sat under the silver lining on this very, very, very dark cloud. So things are very strong for us. And obviously, Online Blockchain is very happy, and we have a number of projects underway, and it's incredibly exciting. I mean, Online Blockchain was called Online in 1996 when nobody knew what an online was. And then the internet thing happened, and we were the first internet stock to explode, and we did our internet things, and we did Advfn, for example. So we actually achieved a lot in the internet space. And then everybody got bored with the internet, and there's practically no internet in the UK when you look at it in comparison with America. And then a few years ago, we got into blockchain, and we pivoted our focus from the internet landscape to the internet crypto landscape. And the institutions of Great Britain are not do not like crypto, and the British establishment are trying to drive crypto out of the UK and are succeeding. But we're one of the few holdouts against the crypto purge that UK PLC is undergoing. And of course, the private investor knows how big it is, and knows about us now, and therefore they're doing on it. And we're a very tiny company and doing big things. But if you look at crypto marketplace, there are companies that were worth zero in August that are now worth $2, $3, $4 billion. And that is the tide that we're swimming in, and that is the opportunity, although not a guarantee of success. I feel that we're doing a lot of exciting stuff there. And the tide is with Advfn on our side, and it's a very exciting landscape.
Right, I was trying to get a few words in there. I think there's a few
points. You won't, Zach. No chance to get a word in edgeway.
Exactly, a few words to say. The first thing is that this does remind. I've known you for 20 years, since the dot-com bubble. It does remind me. It's like a deja vu. I suppose for .com you can substitute blockchain, maybe, that kind of thing. There is also the situation that in the small cap area, which is clearly where Advfn is a specialist. You've got the punters looking at the penny stocks or the micro cap stocks. That is clearly a situation where there's a massive bull market in many areas there as well, which is great because we've waited 20 years for this. How do you see this? How do you see this ending? Do you think it's going to be like a year, 18 months, or do you think that it's a structural change and we'll have punters punting away, and they won't? It's just like we'll be working from home for a long time, even if we don't need to. We're going to be punting away for a long time. And do you think it's going to be something like that?
Well, I'm contrarian, and I'm also a bit on the miserable side, because I'm of that sort of miserable age when everything is dark and miserable. So I don't see it going on forever. However, I think I'm probably way too conservative. Now, the reason for that is, I remember back in 2000, we had a broker who was actually really quite old at the time, and still going, but he was like nearly 80 then. And when the dot-com crash came, he said, "Oh, well, that's it for this generation. Every generation has a bubble and loses their shirt, and then they never come back. And you have to wait for the next generation. The little babies now will be the next generation of private speculators that will pile into the market head first and get skinned. Until that happens, until that next generation matures, it's going to be very dull." And I thought, oh, that can't be right. That's like 20 years away from here. Oh no, don't be so long. And of course, 20 years later, what do you know? Here they all are. And what do you know? They're the Wall Street Bets people. And what do you know? They're all in crypto. I mean, the first cohort, the tip of the spear of the move that you're seeing in the market, particularly in America, the young people, they cut their teeth in crypto, because you could go onto a crypto exchange, of which are hundreds of them, and put $10 down and go buy a little bit of Bitcoin. And there was no, $10 a trade, none of that. It's all free to trade. And, the crypto went all over the place in 2017, and they got a taste for it. And, it became the rock and roll of the new generation crypto. And now, of course, they've migrated into equities, which is a highly developed landscape. But also, you've got the Robin Hood effect in North America, where trading is free. And you can, pop $50 of Tesla, or $10 of something, wild. And that is the entrance of this next generation. Now, how long it will be before they lose their shirts is really the only question. Or if they will lose their shirts, because of COVID, all the central banks are just printing money. And the mechanism of QE is that it goes straight into equities. That money goes straight into equities and property. That is the technique they're using to reanimate the world, is by pumping up assets that will then trickle down.
Yeah.
Because if you pump them in at the bottom and you give the money straight to poor people, not only do they want to spend money, they need to spend money, and then you get big inflation. So the only way you stop big inflation is to reanimate the market by pumping it into the rich people who go, "Oh, what am I going to do with this money? I've got enough. Oh, okay, I'll put it in the bank." And the bank goes, "Oh, I've got all this money. What am I going to do with it? Well, I'm not going to pay interest on it. But maybe I'll lend it to somebody." And it trickles down. When it trickles down, it actually makes a gap between the rich and the poor, which we're seeing at the moment. But that gap opening up is deflationary. If you close that gap, like maybe the Republicans want to try, that's actually inflationary, because it pushes the money out of assets into consumables, and then boom, you get inflation. So we're yet to see what will happen. But for now, right now, when the Fed goes, "Oh, have another billion," actually have another billion, I have a few more billion every day, it's going straight into assets. So the young cohort is going, "Oh, I bought a silly stock and it went up. Stonks only go up," right? Or rather, the Fed only prints money. When that stops, when will that stop? Then equity is going to be in trouble, and probably even crypto will be in trouble, and down it will come. And that generation, the lightweight end of it, the people that do not study, do not want to become an expert, do not want to do charts like Zach does charts and look at financials like I do, those guys will get destroyed, and there'll be that small slither of the cohort left, and we'll have to wait another 20 years when I'll be, I don't know, I'll be 50 then. And for the next group of people to come through.
Right. So for the time being, to cut the story short, for the time being, online blockchain looks like a place to be, and to sort of see how that whole area progresses. And obviously ADVFN, with the stock market on fire, that's a place to be as well.
Well, we're having a very good run, and I suppose we are, always, OBC is always, far out into the leading edge of stuff, and ADVFN has always absolutely ground away at being one of the definitive locations for private investors to get their information. Now, what most people don't realize in the UK is we have a gigantic footprint in North America. We are the business for small caps in North America, and that's Investors Hub. And that's something that we built over 10 or so years. And of course, that is very strong for us too. So our, a year ago, all of a sudden, our advertising just died like that for no apparent reason. Just bang, 1 month, it just stopped. And, we reorganized around last Christmas, because we thought, well, why has it stopped? Don't know. Why has it stopped? Have no idea. Doesn't look like it's going to start again. And we rebased our whole business and cut back on any aggressive stuff. And we work from home. We went virtual in December, 3 months before COVID came along. So when COVID came along, we were already working from home. We were already virtual. We just had changed our whole way of doing business at that point. And that put us in a very strong position when COVID did come, because we had no dislocation from having to send everybody to their homes to work. So that was very fortunate. And now the market is, pretty interesting, right? The whole economic environment is pretty scary, and people are managing their finances and their investments. And that's not going to end, is it? I mean, that's not going to go away in 3 months. They're already talking about, McKinsey did a report that said it was going to be the end of the year before it's back to normality. And the British government has parroted that. But of course, it only takes one slip for it to be the end of the year after. And even when the pandemic comes to an end, the economic devastation that has been already right now wrought and will continue to be a rolling thing will take years to repair. So I think we are going to be very relevant to lots of people for a very long time indeed.
Clem Chambers from Online Blockchain and Advfn, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.